welcome to the Lessons from the Bench podcast. I am your host, Willannette Drayton, and I am so elated that you are here with me on today. Let's get into the episode, shall we? Hello, and once again, welcome to the Lessons from the Bench podcast. How is everyone doing? Oh my goodness, I have have a little friend in the background. Yeah, that's an ambulance. Ambulance is going by, and I am not going to edit this. I'm not going to stop. I am going to keep going because I have a problem with background noises and things like that. I want everything to be perfect, and that's another podcast episode in itself. However, today is my very first day back after being gone for a great while. Yeah, it's been over a year and a half since I've uploaded an episode, and I am not proud to say that, but it happened. And so I am here to just say, hey guys, I'm back. I want to let you know what took place in my absence because a lot of things happened. Life was indeed lifing. A lot went on while I was away. And so I want to share that with you. And I also want to share with you some of the things I learned during the process. So if you will, if I can hold you for a little while today, I'd like to just get into some things that happened. You know, I want to share that. I don't want to hide what took place. You know, I'm not proud about, being gone all that time and then having to get back in it and, dealing with the shame of it all. So I had to get over that. And yeah, so let's do it. Where do I want to start? First, let me tell you that when I said yes to the Lord that I would go forth and do this whole podcasting thing, I knew that I didn't understand what was going to be on the other side of the yes. But yes, Lord, I will. Send me, I'll go. You know how we send me, I'll go. Oh, Lord, I'm available to you. Send me, I'll go. And so that's where I was with the whole thing of podcasting. I felt like I had already have overcome a lot of things, and I gotten over the fear of it all, gotten over the fear of the sound of my own voice and being comfortable with that, being comfortable with speaking behind the mic. And no, I can't see anybody, but I'm talking as if somebody's here. So yeah, it's maybe a little weird, but I can do this. So yeah, I was dealing with all that. And I thought that, I had overcome all that stuff. That stuff was, I'm done with that. And so I'm ready to move ahead. And the moment I set the intention, I got here, I was 2 episodes in. Yeah, I was 2 episodes in. Set the intention. I told you that I would be in your car and in your living room every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that did not happen. It didn't happen. So what took place? What happened is what I want to share with you what went on. Okay. So first thing I want you to know is that I was working 7 days a week. I had a full-time job and I had a part-time weekend job because I was financially strapped and I was trying to dig myself out of a hole that was there from being off during the pandemic. Yeah, I was really backed up and I was working really hard to dig myself out of a hole. I was paying my rent and I had to pay back rent with that. So I'm on a payment plan. So I'm doing all I can to stay afloat. How many of you know about having to do whatever it takes to stay afloat? Yeah, I did everything. I never had to get on a stripper pole, but I said that I would if things got that bad. And thank God. I never had to hit the pole. Okay. Amen. Somebody never had to hit the pole, but definitely struggling to make ends meet. Okay. And at that time, I was also my mom's primary caregiver. There was a time when I lived with my mother, helping to take care of her, and then I got my own place, and I'm still hands on with my mother, taking her to her doctor's appointments and doing the bulk of her grocery shopping, making sure that she has what she needs at her apartment, and, kind of being in between two apartments, running her stuff and doing my thing. And so that's what, I was doing, always really hands on with her until one day, I called my mom's house and I wasn't able to get her on the phone. And it was very odd because even though she didn't answer the phone, my mom is sure to give me a call back when she sees that I call. She'll say, "Oh, I have a missed call." She'll look, it's me. She'll call me back. But that day it didn't happen. So I called several times. I just kept ringing the phone, blowing it up. Mom's not answering. And of course, my mind goes down this rabbit hole of all the bad things that could be happening. I'm not going to lie. I thought maybe that God may have called my mama home because she's just not answering. It's not like her not to return the call. So I get up and I rush to my mom, and my mom was in the floor. She's in the floor, and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, mom, what's going on?" And she said, "I can't get up." And she's like in a position where in between the couch and the coffee table. And I'm trying to lift her up, but I'm unable to do so at my own strength. So I called the nurse because I noticed something that was kind of off. Her stomach was the size of a pregnant woman in her third trimester. My mom is a very small woman. So for me to, one, find her in the floor and to see that her stomach is protruding, like it's really, really big. And not only is it big, it's very hard. Very hard. So I knew that something had to be going on that wasn't right. And so I spoke with the nurse, and she said that she would be on her way. This nurse is the nurse that used to come and do her assessments, and take her blood pressure and things like that in between doctor's visits. So she just happened to be in the area. And so she said, "I'm going to come over and check on mom." She walks in the door. She just saw her. She didn't even have to touch anything, do anything. She looked at her. She says, "Your mom is having a bowel obstruction." And I'm like, "What is that?" But we didn't have time for her to explain. We had to call 911. So I'm trying to get my mom, dressed and appropriate for when the EMS crew arrives and to take her to the hospital. So we get her there, and sure enough, my mom's having a bowel obstruction and she had to have emergency surgery. And so I'm just like, this, where did this come from? Like, this is all at once. Everything was okay, and now this. My mom had, some, health ailments, diabetes, high blood pressure, and things like that, but nothing like this has ever, taken place. And she took a couple of falls before, but to see her on the floor in that condition that she was in, I knew that something was wrong. So I'm glad that God told me to go over there, had the wherewithal to go over there and to get her out of the house when I did, because she was indeed in need of emergency care. So that took place. And then after she was in the hospital for a great while, of course, I was going back and forth to the hospital and still working, but still able to make it to the hospital to do all the things for her and make sure that the things at her home is still taken care of. Things are going, the way things are supposed to be going. I'm keeping things afloat. She's released and she went to a rehab facility. And so I had to still be there for her, be present at the rehab facility. Dealing with her being sick, it's just hard. It's hard on you when you see your parents' health fade. I know I'm not the only one. I know someone listening has dealt with this, and you're there and you're the caregiver, but it's not much that you can do beyond be there for them. And to witness someone's health fade it's took a toll on me, because my mother was just this little spunky little lady that walked really fast. She walked faster than me. She loved walking, and she didn't drive or anything like that. She would catch the metro and catch the bus wherever she had to go, but she moves with like the speed of lightning, and just a fast little thing, and always very independent. And to see her health decline the way it did very quickly, it was a lot for me to process, and I had to deal with that, and still, show up for work, and still, be a mom, single parent. Yeah, be a mom, and still try to, maintain things on my home front, struggling, going through all the things that happened. A few weeks after that, I was in a car accident one Saturday on my way to work, and I was T-boned coming out of the apartment complex. T-boned. I was in a ride share. Thank God that I wasn't sitting on the passenger side. I was sitting on, I'm sorry. I wasn't sitting on the driver's side. I was sitting on the passenger side. Thank God. And, when the car was hit, the impact pushed us on the opposite side of the street in a parked position. Like, you would have thought that he did a U-turn and parked. No, we were hit. The car spent around and jackknifed. I was just like, oh my goodness. I just didn't know what all took place, but it spun around. We end up on the opposite side of the street. That car that I was in was totaled. And then the driver, like I said, I was in the ride share. He didn't even want to give me his insurance information. Like, he gave me the most. He was very mean and just rude to me. And I am a passenger in your vehicle, and your car, like, you drove out here, you weren't looking. And so that happened. And so after that, I was in physical therapy. For, I want to say, almost 2 months. Physical therapy turned out to be a full-time job in itself. It felt like I was just showing up for work. Like, physical therapy was a lot. So here I am. I'm going from the nursing facility, physical therapy, working 7 days a week, trying to do all of this on my own. This was crazy, bananas. But I was still, staying afloat. I was hanging in there for dear life. And what do you know? I was in a relationship and everything was, going smooth. He was there with me through the episodes, everything with my mother, great support with that, and even great support in with me through the car accident and everything. He was right there. Good guy. And we broke up. Yeah, he broke up with me and I was devastated. I was devastated. Yeah. It was a breakup. Oh my God. Okay, I'm back. So I went through a breakup. I had to go through the grieving process in that time. And yeah, that was a lot to swallow. But that will be another episode of the Lessons from the Bench podcast. So we're not going to get stuck on that. But that was something that happened. Shortly after that, I was working and, I was always tired, like really, really tired. I felt drained every day and I had a cold and I was nursing this cold with all the things like NyQuil is my jam, so I was just drinking the NyQuil at night. And I'm probably immune to it now because sometimes I was drinking NyQuil just to be able to go to sleep, and didn't even have any symptoms. I just needed to go to sleep. So I was using it for that. But I had some cold symptoms and I was drinking the NyQuil every day and doing the tea and the honey and all those things. And this cold would just seem to linger. It wasn't going anywhere. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to deal with it. I'm sure that I need some rest. But I didn't get the rest that I needed. So a few nights I noticed I was wheezing and that was different because I don't have asthma. I don't have asthma and anything like that. So why am I wheezing? Didn't know. And then that I would just have these pain in my chest, pain in my back, and I was sleeping and my breathing would be labored, and even in my talking, just like trouble speaking, like whispering and breathing, trying to get things out. The coughing was unbelievable, coughing and coughing and coughing. And I just didn't know what was going on, but this was the worst thing ever that I ever experienced. And it wasn't COVID. And because I took some home tests and found that out. So I went to the doctor and I was like, this is something different. I've never experienced a cold of this nature before. What is this? Found out that I had pneumonia and I had been walking around with pneumonia for weeks. Yes, walking pneumonia. And he looked at the x-ray. He was like, wow, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? And I let him know that, I'm up on my feet. I feel like I've been hit by a truck but I am here. And he's like, wow. He said, you have a lot of mucus and a lot of things going on in your lungs. He said, but how are you breathing? And I let him know that I was okay. So my breathing was okay, but there were times when it was, labored. So he didn't think that I was sick enough to go to the emergency room or anything like that, but he did note that I had to stop and I had to get some rest. Rest was going to be the recipe for you getting over this, he said. And oh my goodness, I had to take off work. Now, mind you, I was already, trying to stay afloat, but now I really had to take off work because I had the accident. I only took off a couple of days after this accident. I was right back at it. I wasn't off 2, 3 weeks. I was off maybe a week and I was right back at it. Went to therapy right away. Just never missed a beat. Just back at it, and still trying to maintain the life that I was, accustomed to, going to see about my mom and doing all the things. And I was getting it done, but it was hard. It was hard. I was struggling. I had nothing else to give. I was burnt at both ends of the candle, and I had exasperated all I had. I was done. And the podcast was, a distant memory. It was almost as if, oh my goodness, how am I going to get it in? Because I was trying to see ways that I could fit it in. Right? I was still trying to figure out how was I going to be able to get back to the podcast because I'm supposed to be doing this. And like what is wrong with me? I see other people go through things and they're able to, still do what they're called to do. They're still showing up and they're still doing the things. And me, I'm just like, I tapped out. What is wrong with me? Do I not have enough strength to have what it takes to keep going? And what is it? What is it? What's going on? And so I had to sit back and really reflect. And while all the things were happening and while I wasn't, uploading, I was still writing things down. I was still talking to the Lord. I was still showing up in places and spaces, maybe places that I probably should not have been. Not bad places, just, showing up for other people, and when I could be doing something for myself, when I should have been taking care of myself is what I'm saying. But I still showed up. And I had to sit back and think, like, wow, you still are showing up, but what about the podcast? Like, what is up with that? And so I was watching YouTube one day, and I was watching a gentleman by the name of Myron Golden. He is a great speaker. You can go to YouTube and check him out. He's awesome with inspiration, motivation, encouragement, and all the things, and tell you how to make money and just everything. He has a great show. And I was listening to him, and he said something during one of the episodes. He said, intention is always followed by distractions. And I'm like, wait a minute. Wait. Intention is always followed by distractions. So you mean to tell me that all the things that I just listed that happened on the heels of me making an intention? I set the intention, and sure enough, all the things took place. I felt like I was under attack. I felt like this was an all out blitz. And honestly, it was. Okay, let me say this. I am a girl and I love football. Okay. And because I love football, I see a lot of things. God speaks to me and shows me things through sports and things like that. I just see so many things, and things are revealed to me in sports and things like that. So I felt like I was being attacked. I felt like I was being hit with an all out blitz, right? And so, if I could explain the all out blitz for you, the blitz is when, okay, your quarterback, right? He's at the center, he has the ball. The opposing team is going to set up in a formation, in a blitz formation, okay? And during the blitz, their players, the opposing team, their players, the defensive linemen, they are going to rush the quarterback. And it's not going to be one person rushing the quarterback, not two, maybe three or four. They will be coming with an all out blitz. And the intention for the blitz is for the quarterback to be stopped in his track so that he will not be able to make forward progress. Now, you tell me, was I blitzed? I was blitzed. All the things were happening. My mom, the accident, the breakup, the illness, everything happened. It felt like an all out blitz. I stopped. I stopped. These things were designed to stop my forward progress, and I allowed it to happen. I allowed myself to not go forward. I took the stance of not getting up because, for real, all I had to do was simply use my legs. Have you ever watched a game when the quarterback is sacked? Say the blitz did hit him. The blitz did work. It was actually a play that worked. And it did hit the guy or whoever had the ball. They take a hit and they go down, but they're always sure to get back up. They get back up. They get back up either by the way of, one of their teammates coming by to give them a hand and, he'll get up like that. Or he will just use his legs and get back up. And for me, nobody was coming to give me a hand to get back up. Nobody. No, nobody was there to give me a hand up. And I didn't use the tools that I had. I'm just going to be very honest with you. I didn't use the tools that I had. I didn't use the lifelines. I called a few people and, let them know what was happening. And I know that they were praying for me, but I did not do anything myself. I sat in it. I sat there. I laid there and now allow myself to be taken under all of the things that took place in my life. Life is gonna be lifing. At all given times, you're either coming through a storm or going in one. You're coming through and going out, in and out, in and out. So there's going to be highs and there are going to be lows. However, I had to realize that I honestly have what it takes to stick with something. I do. I didn't even know really what I had in me. One thing that a storm will teach you and trouble will teach you, you will see the people around you. But I don't want to focus so much on the people that were around me that didn't show up. I want to focus on myself. I saw myself in a storm. I saw myself just lay there. I saw myself not do the things that I know to do. First of all, I should have been praying. Number one. Number one, I should have given all of those things that were happening to me. I should have given it to God. Just give it to God. Just let God do what He does because I had no strength. My mother being in the hospital, my mother being ill, my mother's everything, that's something that only God can take care of because not only is He my Lord and Savior, He's hers. Yeah, He's the Savior of the world, not me. So, yeah, that part. Give it to God. Even in the car accident, with having to struggle with this guy and, all the things that happened. I'm a passenger. I got injured and I walked away from it. Thank you, by the mercies of God, that I am still here today to be able to speak. But even dealing with that situation, I should have just giving it to God. The breakup, God, there's a breakup. God will mend a broken heart. He has the power to do that. Give it to God. Even my pneumonia, the pneumonia, being sick, having sickness in my body. I just had to learn that I have to give it to God. Give it to God. Give it to God and not allow the circumstances and trials in life. Don't allow them to become distractions. Don't allow them to be the excuse that I'm going to use not to move forward because really, 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 there is no room for that. There's no room for that. I have to go forward at all costs. And I'm thinking like, oh my goodness, how do the people that I am inspired by, I see them doing this and it seems like, oh my goodness, they are winning. And what is it that they're doing that I'm not doing? I see them showing up all the time and it seems like they're okay, but they're not okay. And I have to realize that some of the people that I listen to and gain inspiration and motivation from, they are really showing up. And sometimes when they're speaking, they may be having a bad day. They really may be having a bad day. They really may be experiencing a time where they just had a phone call about a death of a loved one, but they decide to still get on and record something and upload and still show up for other people. They may be experiencing a breakup or a divorce or anything could be going on, a physical illness themselves, and they still show up. They show up when they may have a child who's wayward. They still show up and they're showing up. And so the answer to my question was, what are they doing? They're still showing up and willing it, happy. Whatever you're calling yourself today, girl, show up. That's what you have to do. You have to still show up. You have to still show up. And that's when I began to go down the rabbit hole, you all, with shame. I felt so bad. because I did not show up, I felt so bad. I felt like I know better than this. I know better than this. I know better. I have tools. I know the words of prayer. I know people that I could call and that will touch and agree with me. I know better than this. I've seen this before. This is not the first time I've been down before. I know what I have to do to get out of this, and I did not use my tools. I did not use my tools. And that's what made me feel so bad about coming back and, uploading an episode after being gone over a year and a half and having to come back and even have this conversation with you. But willing that you are going to bless somebody else because you are going to tell them what really happened. It happened to me. I took myself out of the game. I did that. God did not do that, because what I did was I reacted to all the things that were happening around me, and I did not have the right response. If I would have responded, it would have looked like this. Hello, and welcome to the Lessons from the Bench podcast. I am your host, Willina Drayton, and I am so elated that you are here with me on today. Let's get into the episode, shall we? Hello, everyone, and thank you once again for tuning into the Lessons from the Bench podcast. I am your host, Willina Drayton, and you know what, guys? Today, I am not having a good day. I had to go and see about my mom today. My mom was having an issue, and I had to take care of that. And so I'm going to solicit your prayers. Those of you who know the words of prayer, pray for me as I navigate through this storm. Hello and welcome to the Lessons from the Bench podcast. I am your host, Willina Drayton. Oh my goodness, guys, you will not believe what happened to me on Friday. I'm sorry that I've been away for a week, but I was nursing injuries. I was in a car accident, and I'm a little hurt right now. I'm going through something, but I am here. Hello and welcome to the Lessons from the Bench podcast. Thank you for being here on today. I am your host, Willina Drayton. And oh my goodness, guys, give me a minute. Give me a minute. I need you all. I'm going to need you all to hold a girl up. I just experienced a breakup. And I'm going through all the things. Guys. But you know what? I am here and I'm going to push through. Hello and welcome to the Lessons from the Bench podcast. I am your host, Willina Drayton, and I am, excuse me, guys. I'm dealing with something right now, and I was diagnosed with pneumonia, but you know what? I said that I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to I'm sorry, let me get some water. I said that I'm going to keep going and that I'm going to record anyway, but I'm really not feeling well, so I'm going to need you guys to hold me up in prayer. But I just wanted to come on and just let you know that I'm okay, and I may be away for about 3 days or so, but just give me a chance to get myself back together, guys. I want to be here for you. I'm not feeling well, but can you just pray for me, and I'll be back. I didn't do that. Guess what? There is beauty in what took place. I found out who I was. I found out the things that mattered to me. I found out what really mattered. I found out that I'm going to have to keep going no matter what. I found out that I'm definitely going to have to give it to God. Definitely going to have to learn how to say no. Sometimes I'm not going to be able to show up for other people. I'm going to have to reel it in and be present for myself and to be focused on what God is calling me to do. I'm going to have to do that. And not only that, I'm going to have to give myself some grace. Just grace. I walk into rooms and give grace to everyone else, taking care of everyone else. But I'm going to have to apply that same grace to my own life. And so I am here. I'm back. I am back. All isn't perfect. All is not well. I'm going to be honest with you. In the midst of gathering myself, I was hit with something else that happened, that took place. I was hit again. I was hit with something on December 15th. Got a phone call from my employer letting me know they were parting ways. Yeah, I was let go from that full-time job that I was working so hard on. Yep. I was let go. So I'm recording this episode today. Yeah, I don't have employment, but the difference in a year. Last year, I was swallowing. I was drowning, not swallowing. I was drowning in self-pity. And today, not so much. No. Not so much. I feel good. I feel like going on. I know that I can make it. I know that I can stand no matter what comes my way. My life is in His hands. My life is in God's hands. And because He lives, I can face tomorrow. Because He lives, all fear is gone, because I know who holds the future. My life is worth the living just because He lives. I want to encourage you, the listener, to keep going. Whatever you are assigned to, keep at it. Whatever you started, keep plowing, keep going at that thing. And if you fall, use your legs, get back up, use your legs, just stand up. Just like, when a little kid jumps in the pool. They jump in the pool, and the pool is only 3 feet, and they're thinking they're about to drown. Like, you're like, stand up, just stand up, and they stand up like, oh my goodness. That's how it was. All I had to do was use my legs, cry out to God, cast all my cares upon Him, because He cares for me. He knows everything. He knows all about my struggles. He knows. He knows. He knows. Listen, if you found this episode to be of help to you, and if you would be ever so kind, I'm asking that you would share this episode with someone, if you think that will bring great value to their lives, if you just need encouragement, just continue to come back. Do come back. Do come back. Come back. Come back for more lessons from the bench. Oh, this was a little heavy. A little heavy for me, but I am so glad that you came. And I want to say thank you for being here. Tune in again next week, Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.